Fire in the hole. You got the video.
Did you?
All right, wave 2, fire in the hole. We've got audio.
It's a multi-blitz.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Jan CapmLew podcast with your host CapmLew and your co-host
Luke.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Here we are.
Boy, I'm on it. I had a nap.
I feel good.
I had a little bit of a nap. I'm still kind of groggy from waking up from it.
Is it pleasant groggy or bad groggy?
I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, I'm happy to see you. That's sick, dude.
That's
we're buds.
Yes, we are buds. That's really nice. Luke and I were just discussing that it looks like we're going to make a major shift, a big change.
We're making
big moves on the horizon. We're going to make a move that is going to increase our productivity and probably get us canceled in one fell swoop, because you guys know how fringe we are with our
don't even say it. It's gonna get up on the YouTube. And
it's totally that we continue to contend that robust multi-perspective conversations are the way forward on just about everything.
Yeah.
Had so many things come across my feed this week. I had a gut-wrenching 3-hour rewatch. It was 3 hours of material. It was the 9 Club, and their guests were Jamie Thomas and Chris Cole.
Oh.
Cue the not really onslaught.
Okay.
But
Ensemble.
cue the ocean of, oh, I love, that was so good. I just love, that was so good. And I'll say this, it really was.
Did you enjoy it though?
No, not at all.
Okay, right, but it was good.
It really was good. I'll tell you, it caused me to watch about 5 or 6 hours worth of 9 Club material and rewatch their What Makes a Skateboarder a Skateboarder.
Yeah.
And I actually have here this many notes.
That from the very right there. Okay.
Here I have this many notes. Yeah, I have this many notes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages.
Six pages of notes that I took. I didn't only re-listen to What Makes a Skateboarder a Skateboarder. That's what it is on YouTube. But I had a dear friend, join me here in the Upper Sanctum. He also is someone. He's the only person that I consider to be co-host material in terms of, like, if you were having a baby again, and we needed to take off another month, we wouldn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
It was he's become a very dear friend.
Yeah.
Jeff Vanover. He represents the very best of what I feel. It's not that he's the best person of humanity. That's not it.
He's on the.
What is he?
The stream right now.
No.
Yeah, just real quick before we.
It's not that he's like the best person of humanity, but the perspective from which he comes. He's come into skateboarding. He's one of these early starter, late bloomers.
Yeah. Okay.
That's come into skateboarding. He's never going to be at barracksbattlecommander.com. You know?
Yeah.
And so the reasons that he loves skateboarding are, I think they are extremely good to hear.
Yes.
And his perspectives on skateboarding are really fresh. In fact, I did something today. So I had Jeff up here yesterday, and we just listened through probably 2/3 of the What Makes a Skateboarder a Skateboarder. And I just put in work.
Yeah.
Because when I'm having these, we call them reactions, when I'm having these reactions to media, I want to get to the bottom of, what's useful in this reaction for for growth, what's useful for growth as a community if we discuss it, versus just the pure sensation of nausea.
Just besides pure nausea.
Now, I did want to share, I had a takeaway in my week of watching 9 Club stuff.
Yeah.
First thing is, goodness gracious, those boys really grow on you.
Yeah.
They really do. There is a sweetness to those dudes. You just start to feel like, oh,
Aw,
these kids are really, they're really coming at it.
Yeah.
You know, they're coming at it. They're coming at it from where they're coming from. And how can you pick on a guy, for coming at it from where he's coming from?
What did you think about Parad's perspective in that video? I watched it, and I'm interested to know what your opinion is about it.
Well, I noticed he backed off of it. His
Did he?
perspective, he backed off, but then he doubled down.
I thought that he was extremely generous. I was really prepared for him to be like,
Here,
some line in the sand that was insane.
they started off the conversation in that one. What makes a skateboarder a skateboarder?
Yeah.
It's funny. Jeff Vanover commented, "I'm not the best."
yeah.
Right? But that's why a person would be on the 9 Club. Even the name, the 9 Club.
Yeah.
Do you know what it's from?
The 9 Club. Nope.
Do you know how when somebody is involved in like gymnastics or figure skating or any of those,
They have like a 1 out of 10 scale.
right? And
Yeah.
and you don't know, but he gets a 10.
Sure.
But people who get scores in the 9s,
Yeah.
they're the 9 Club.
That's the 9 Club. So like the upper echelon.
Yes. And I did some note taking today on that, because I have been actively interested in being the whatever is not the 9 Club. I want a club.
Yeah.
Everybody
whatever
does.
isn't that one.
I want a club that's not the 9 Club. It's the other thing.
I can't tell if that's arrogant or
What? It's fine.
to call yourself the 9 Club.
I think it's tongue in cheek.
Is it tongue in cheek?
I think that there's a dude. I just don't think those guys are monsters at all.
No, I don't. I don't feel
really
that way
don't.
either.
And I think we've had this conversation months ago, where we were like, "Look, these guys are really sweet people."
Yeah.
I don't see things the way they see them. I don't come from where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a huge body of people out there who could use some material that doesn't play by the same rules by which they, and I don't think that I think they're really sacrificing to do what they do, and I have a certain degree of respect for the difficulties that they're overcoming trying to be media.
Yeah, 100%. Which, I mean, my biggest critique of the 9 Club, which isn't even that gnarly, is that they soft pedal with anybody who they talk to.
All right.
You know what I mean?
One of the things about being the 9 Club is that they have to cooperate with the scoring system.
Oh, interesting. Sure.
The 9 Club is a great. I know that they're going to be like, "No, man, you took it too
Trust me.
far.
Yeah, there it is.
You took it too far."
Right.
I don't think they'll be like anything, because I honestly don't think they're going to hear it.
I bet you don't even kickflip. On and on. It
Oh,
goes.
that's changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Were you with me on Father's Day? I tried 10 kick flips.
Did you land one? I was watching you
No,
from afar.
I front foot landed 2 or 3, but oh no, dude, I remember how to do it.
Dude, I landed a kickflip on Father's Day.
Yeah,
on
but
my inaugural
I
Father's Day.
I was doing. I said, okay, every time I go skate now, I'm gonna try 10 kick flips.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And I was like, my flick path.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I'm not gonna do kick flips like I used to do them, which was with a lateral kick path. I'm doing a longitudinal kick path.
100%. It's the only way.
My flick path was like, tail was up.
Yes,
I was
it
like,
was on
oh,
point.
forget it, dude. I'm gonna be kick flipping all the time. I mean, if I do 10 kick flips a session, try 10 kick flips a session, just for the heck of learning to kick flip.
Yeah.
In between all that zipping around.
Yeah, of course.
There's almost zero chance that I won't be enjoying doing kick flips, and then Oh, they're gonna come for me.
They're gonna come for me.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Sir, are you hiding kickflips in here? They're gonna come for me. It's so funny, dude. Yeah. We're gonna have to check your basement. No, I
My
swear.
grandparents hid kickflips in their basement.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So, but that's what's nice about it is I've never been against kick flipping.
No.
I think it's rad.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had people come at us sideways like, why are you hating on kids for doing kick
That's
flips?
not what I said.
Well, it's not only not what I said, it's also not what I meant.
Yeah, or even close
It's
to it.
also not what a reasonable person would think I said unless
Yes.
they already just hated me.
Yes.
And I get it.
Right.
I get it. You know what?
I've got days. I hate
I'm
it too.
hard to understand for folks that have. But the thing about the 9 Club, and I think they get a lot of crap for softballing,
Yeah.
but they've kind of predicated their whole idea on. I wrote it this way. I said, I wrote the balance. I want this space.
This environment.
I want this to be an unsafe space.
This atmosphere.
For snooty booties. I want this to be cooperative.
There it is.
I want this to be a place in the sphere. I want us to be, in a way, not the anti-9 Club,
No.
but I want us to offer balance to the community in regard to that. We're gonna.
There it is.
Oh, you know what I did? I left it on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, can you throw it on the phone?
I don't
Or
know.
do
Is it bad enough yet? Let's just leave
Let's
it.
just
See,
leave it, it's
let's
fine.
do the
Yeah,
dance.
let's just do it.
Let's dance with the one what
Okay.
brung us.
Okay, perfect.
So, I want I want us to be in cooperative balance with the 9 Club.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we are uncooperative with the historic, industry subservient cultural status quo. Okay, we are uncooperative toward the mainstream cultural status quo.
Yeah.
And I know that's a big amount of things. You should like that. You also you should like that
Yeah.
and support us.
And subscribe.
9 Club is the club by name. 9 Club means the club for competitors who have scored in the 9s in performative competitions. It is the club for the qualified, and that's who is on there.
Yeah.
Big stink rose from Gary Vaynerchuk on the 9 Club because he hadn't qualified in skateboarding.
Oh.
I don't belong on the 9 Club because I haven't qualified. It's for people who did iconic
Feats?
and well-known video parts.
Sure.
I'm doing it. We're changing.
Probably fine.
Is it bad to have your hotspot always on?
I don't know, but
Okay, I did
it's
that.
doing it.
I don't know.
Worked.
Maybe
We're gonna see.
we will see,
Okay.
or and our viewers may
Well,
not.
Yeah, may not see. Yeah.
So 9 Club is a reference to the club for competitors who have scored in the 9s in performative competitions, the club of the qualified. Yet, this is where we want
Yes,
to come in,
there
because
it is.
we have a lot more that we're going to do than just sit in the upper sanctum or over at Luke's studio, which is nice.
That's nice.
We have more to do. Yet there is a whole world of fascinating and inspiring people whose stories and their tellings lie well outside the boundaries and the gatekeeping of the qualified.
It's true.
That's a mouthful.
I know.
This is
What is this? The Book of Hebrews?
I just write and write. I'm a dork. So there is a whole world of fascinating and inspiring people whose stories and the tellings of their stories lie well outside the boundaries and the gatekeeping of the qualified, the 9 Club. Now, I'm not saying that the 9 Club is not going to do an interview with Pete from Pete's Pigs.
Yeah. That would be outside of their main domain.
It would be. I think it would be controversial.
Yeah.
However, I'm not sure it would be poorly received. Not because it fits what they do, but because Pete from Pete's Pigs is exemplary of a lot of people whose approach to and history within the activity of skateboarding, I said it this way, transcends the realm, the kingdom of the branding heroes and culture iconography of this historically... Oh, I got real spicy. Dude, did you read it?
No, dude, go ahead.
Did you read it?
I like it.
It's
I like it.
This is very first draft. These people's stories transgress and transcend the realm of branding heroes.
Gosh, dude.
And cultural iconography of this historically negligent, corruptive, mainstream, money-subservient power block.
Power block. Golly.
Do you see how I just got so iconoclastic there?
Did, man.
Guy just can't take 2 steps without kicking a bully in the shins.
Yeah, dude. Golly.
They own the airwaves. But that's fine. That's fine. Actually, no, it's not.
You actually wrote that.
I wrote that. I wrote at the end. That's fine.
Actually,
and I wrote,
no.
Actually, no. It is. I wrote. Here's me. I wrote. It's a machine that destroys the children.
It's true.
And I wrote that, and I'm like, man, that's heavy. And then I wrote, it is. It is.
Oh boy.
And I live in a generation that subtly, yet forcibly demands that I acquiesce to this and give it my respect. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. No, Cobra Kai, but I'm sure that I'll be accused of bullying the poor guys at the Nine Club. They're bricks in a wall.
Yeah.
They're bricks in a wall. They're operating entirely within a model that is Wi-Fi yet. There it is. It's coming back. Luke, congratulations.
Thank you.
Do not have to splice together 2 videos.
That's awesome.
However, also, Luke, consternations. You did not have to splice them together. You could just put them up as partials.
I know, but people like the consistency of the one video.
What people?
The people, there's like 2 people on our, like, I don't know.
How many even views do we get on a YouTube video?
I'm going to look right now.
It's good for history.
I'm going to look right now.
A little historic here. So... and then I wrote some things.
We have 16 subscribers, my guy. No, that's actually way up. We had like 3. That's actually kind of crazy.
On our YouTube?
Yeah.
Well, port them over. Listen on Spotify. No, I'm going to tell them.
Not yet.
No?
Or do it. I know you should. You should. You can do whatever you want.
Looks like we're going to switch over to Spotify for podcasts.
I didn't mean it now. Do whatever you want, but not right now. Not like that.
Yeah. Well, so I like the Nine Club.
Yeah.
I like it, and I like the guys.
Yes. No. They seem
I like
friendly
the guys, but the mission of the Nine Club is within the play by the rules.
Yeah.
Model.
Yes.
We aren't.
Yes.
We don't even believe in the rules.
Yeah.
That those guys enjoy going into depth and being, really rooting around in the rules of the thing. And this is all absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Until it hurts the kids.
And then it's not.
Or the big kids.
Yes.
But when I say big kids, I mean the inner children of grown-up people too.
Yeah.
And there are pinch points along the way.
Yeah.
And that's where the mission of what we're doing really kicks up for me. That's where we actually want to hone in, we want to zoom in on things like that and say confusing things that cause people to accuse us of bullying kids for doing kickflips.
Right.
Which, trust me, that is definitely exactly what we intend to do.
Right, the entire time.
And if you were to re-listen to the podcast that you feel like said that, I'm sure that that's exactly what we said.
Because it's completely consistent with what we've said
I don't
historically.
I don't mean to pick on the 1 or 2 or 3 or 25 or 75 or 100 people who have kind of gone that route with the material we're putting out.
Yeah.
I get it. It makes you kick. I was watching some stuff this week that caused me to kick, And so, and this is nice with listening material. So I put it on again and again and again, and I listened and I put in work to understand what I was hearing, and especially what I felt like I came around the mountain on was this: what makes a skateboarder a skateboarder? You know, I took some notes. They started off with an MLB pitcher who used to but can't skate anymore. That's where they started off.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then they talked about a 13 to 15 years old, you learn to ollie and flip your board, do some tricks, and now you're 40, 45 years old, so that's a 30-year hiatus.
Yeah, sure.
And you don't spot check. You're not looking at the world like that, but
sure.
you still can kick flip. Are you still a skateboarder?
Yeah.
And the one guy, his perspective was, are you a fan or are you an actual skateboarder? But P-Rod said that the guy who learns to ollie and kickflip, they didn't really qualify this, but he said if you learn to ollie and kickflip, then you've put in real work.
Yeah.
And you might have put it in 30 years ago, but to P-Rod in the beginning of the discussion, that was enough to get you I'm a skateboarder merit badge.
And I don't think he was using the term. I don't think he was just picking some of the tricks that were lower down on the rungs in his perspective. You know what I mean? But like for us, we might say like carve or frontside grind or slash.
He said it takes real dedication to learn those things, and you're a skater, you're a skateboarder. And I thought that was very generous.
It was super generous.
And I really like Paul Rodriguez, like at the human level.
Me too.
I really do.
Me too.
And then someone said whatever I wrote down when I wrote that.
Dude, it's good. When I have to collate all this after you're dead into a book.
Real hours count. Real hours counted to make you a skater, and what are the standard tricks? Those were my question. But 30 years without doing it, I was remarking, and then someone says, anyway, then at that point, P-Rod was like, I'm going to back up off that. And the reason wasn't because he disagreed with himself, but because he realized, I think, because it was an unqualified system that was taking form.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell what were the limiting principles of what makes you a skater.
Right.
The whole time, I could see how important it seemed that they answer the question, and they dove into I thought it was a really good discussion of what makes a person a skateboarder.
Right.
How, and also when I got involved when I crossed the line into actually endeavoring to contribute something to the skateboarding community.
Yeah. Crazy
okay.
Dog.
Right?
Yeah. It's too much.
Immediately there were powers that be in my area who were really in charge. And they set to work, and the first thing they said was I wasn't a real skateboarder.
Yeah.
I was older.
Right.
I don't know, I think I'm 10 years older than the Kingmaker.
Really?
I can't be. It can't be that much.
I bet you're only 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's that much.
But I didn't flip my board a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't jump off of things. I didn't have a shoulder that would separate every time I skated. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't have any bad boy points.
Yeah.
I didn't party.
No.
I didn't party, but I went to parties.
Yeah.
And
sipped on a Coke in the corner.
Not even in the corner. I was out in the parking lot with a bunch of people doing kickflips.
Yeah.
You know,
as it turns out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed myself every single time I did any industry stuff, even in the small levels that I was doing it.
Yeah.
But the whole thing when I first became a rep for a brand was that guy's not a real skater.
Yeah.
The guy's a kook. He's not a real skater. And I thought at the time, yeah, that's right. I'm not. In fact, probably there are a lot of people who would definitely fall in the crosshairs of that. Mm-hmm. I'm going to promote this brand to them. Yeah. Because I think there are more people who don't qualify as a skater.
Yeah.
Who really love going skateboarding.
Yes.
They love going skateboarding, and they like skateboards even more than people who qualify.
Yes.
You know,
for sure.
There is such a cool irony involved in that observation. That was like theoretical, but I think it bears out in my experience.
Well, that's funny because that's where P-Rod landed in that conversation. I remember a part where he said, it just has to be in your heart.
If it has to, honestly, that's right. They said it has to be in your heart. You got to love it.
Yeah, and that was honestly for a conversation like that.
Yeah, he brought up you got to be able to do some moves and talk the talk. That was the first go.
That was his friend sitting next to him.
Maybe that was. Let's see here. If you're already a skateboarder, you can never not be a skateboarder. What about being a bike rider? Does that make you a bicyclist? What if you can throw a basketball and make a basket? Does that make you a basketball player?
Right.
And I realized there that and then they started talking about mentality and heart,
right,
and culture and fandom, and they were like, we need fans. But then someone said, if you can do some moves and if you can talk the talk.
Yeah.
Then someone's like, what if you have a disability or an injury? I think that might have been
the main
Rob.
Is that his name?
Krob.
That must be it.
Who are they? You've got
I don't know.
Kelly.
Sounds good.
Kelly is happy, friendly.
Okay.
Then there's Krob. Then there's the guy he was on Girl. He's the dark-skinned fella.
Yeah, what's his name?
Oh, he was
the one that
hilarious.
was the most intense.
I liked him. He actually made some contributions. He was the one who said, are you a fan or are you an actual skateboarder? He was the one who was trying to make the,
Chris Roberts, Jaron Wilson, and Kelly Hart.
Jaron Wilson.
Jaron?
Jeron?
Yeah, what did I say?
Jaron.
My bad. Jaron
Is it really
Wilson. I don't know.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, Jaron Wilson. He's like an old school, like,
is he the one that's
90s.
here for Girl?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand his perspective.
I better have had that right.
Yeah, yikes.
And
you're out.
And so they were like, can you do some moves and can you talk the talk? I thought that was really cool because when I first heard can you talk the talk, I thought, what? They didn't say walk the walk and talk the talk.
No, they just said talk
but
the talk.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Then they were like, what about a disability and an injury? And someone said they're a skater regardless.
Yeah.
And then someone said it's all up to the person. Only you can know if you're a skateboarder.
Which honestly wasn't bad. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
And then someone said, or you're a poser.
No,
and when Poser came in, that was really interesting because Poser is like somebody's a poser, and then I could hear their inner child saying, "But I really like this stuff. I really like this stuff."
Yes, dude.
And,
yes.
And I heard myself going, "But I'm not a trick guy. I'm not really a trick guy,
Like having a conversation with you and two of your friends who are inside your head.
And then I wrote down this idea because I watched and they were batting around I wrote down aspirational qualification for membership. Like if someone aspires to be a skateboarder, that might be a route that could take them past wherever this line is. Now these guys are trying to find the line.
Yeah, but
and I liked
objective.
it.
Yeah,
no, I liked it because
me too.
They need you, but they have to find the line. Because if you don't find the line, how can you tell who's in and who is out?
Yes.
And they all work for an industry that has to sell things to people who are in. They can't sell those things to people who are out. They have to keep the people who are out. Oops.
Except Thrasher is in.
Well,
Boss.
and the reason that your stuff is in Ross Dress for
or
Less,
whatever, whatever.
The reason it's in those places is because no, it's fine, dude. Actually, if you're in the industry, these should be the people who are arguing that it's just for everybody.
Yeah.
They should be like, no, 100% of humanity gets to call themselves a skateboarder if they own one and use it twice a year, period. Done and go. Everyone go out and buy yourself a skateboard. By the way, today's podcast is brought to you by Life Skateboards, where every single person who skates or wants to skate twice a year is automatically in the group.
Yes.
Now go out and grab yourself a Life Skateboards. They're the boards we ride.
Here's one.
I've got a ton of them here. There, that one's in the shot.
Yeah.
That's the one I love to ride personally.
Yeah.
It is the Panhead XL. It's 10.75 inches wide with a 14.75 wheelbase. Mwah, chef's kiss. All right. And Clipser, it didn't happen.
You know what I found interesting about the conversation, because I was thinking about it, is that they were using the term skater, not realizing that because of the way that language works, one word can mean many things. So you have skater in the like definitional sense, which is a person who skates at all, ever. You know, if you skated when you were 7, you could say I was a skater, or I am a skater because I did it once. And then they have skater in like kind of the cultural sense, which is a person who's acquiescent and a part of the culture. The problem is
they have an affinity.
Yeah, exactly.
They have an affinity for skateboarding that transcends just doing it. It infuses its way. That's why I have a skateboard branded hat on.
Yeah.
Actually, motorcycle.
Right.
Because I have an affinity for motorcycles and riding them. I like to fill my life with stuff that, by the way, I can't help but think this company, Go Fast Don't Die.
Oh yeah.
The guy who runs that company swear he's a skater. I've seen him ride a skateboard. Obviously a skater.
Is that the guy who turns Sportsters into dirt bikes?
I'm sure that he does.
No,
do
that's
that.
Rusty.
That Rusty Butcher.
Yeah, Rusty Butcher. I thought he was the Go Fast Don't Die.
Anyway. No, Go Fast Don't Die is a fashion brand.
Oh, it's just a fashion
brand. It's a fashion brand for people who have affinity, who are aficionados. Aficionados.
Yeah.
That's the aspirational membership. But what if we tightened it up?
Okay.
What if we tightened it up and said, a person looks at a group of people.
Yeah.
Pick the skateboarder.
Yeah.
In that group, whizzing around the edge of it is a person who's riding a skateboard.
Yeah.
In the moment that they are riding a skateboard, they are truly identifiable as a skateboarder.
At least in the definitional sense.
Right. And the definitional sense is what I love.
Yeah, right.
But what if the board they're riding is too long or too wide or too short or too narrow?
Right.
Or what if the brand on the board that they're riding is a YouTube brand?
Yeah.
Or some homebrew, type of thing.
Some homebrew.
Now, I thought it was great. You had 11 minutes and like 12 or 21 seconds of these guys thrashing around, and you could see them as a group on the fly.
Yeah.
Unscripted, exploring what are the limiting principles to a functioning definition of what is a skateboarder. The same thing is going on in like what is a biker?
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing goes on all over the place. I watched a clip. Jason Wren just joined. Awesome to see you. Love you. He runs.
Yes, he does. Dude.
Yeah, he runs. I mean, he runs like 100-mile runs.
Yes.
And I just watched this thing yesterday. I was watching YouTubes, and a dude joined an Australian ultra marathon.
Dude, is that the one where they go?
He showed up to the marathon.
Go ahead.
In Wellington boots and work pants from the farm.
No, dude.
Everyone knew this guy was not gonna be fast.
Okay.
And he ran, and
in boots.
He didn't. Yeah, in wellies. He didn't know that everyone slept.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Was it an ultra run or was
an ultra, like 100 miles.
Oh no, dude!
And it was like 100 miles, or more.
Okay.
And he goes and he runs, and he just didn't stop running
until he was done.
So he not only finished first.
Oh my gosh, dude! Poor guy.
He was not fast.
Yeah.
He not only finished first.
Yeah.
He broke the record.
Tortoise in the hair, baby.
Because he never learned that you are supposed to rest so that you don't go insane with the hallucinations.
Yes, right.
And follow a purple like man-sized purple rabbit off into the desert and die. It was in Australia, so he's gonna get bitten by a by a spider or a snake.
The size of his face.
Or a freaking... Dude. They have everything that will bite, poison, and kill you there.
And because he was a farmer, he was just like at mile 80, like, well...
So this guy... No, that's not the end of it.
Okay.
I learned that this guy not only did he finish first, not only did he break the present record...
Yeah.
He didn't know there was a prize.
Okay.
10,000 Australian dollars. That's like $35.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
good for him.
And he When he found out that he'd won $10,000, he
Yeah.
split it between himself and all the other competitors.
Dude, dang it.
That guy was,
Gosh.
you know what he was not?
A skater?
He was not a runner.
Oh, well,
That's not a runner.
I don't know, dude.
You know what that was?
Huh.
That was a good man
Yeah.
who ran one time.
Yeah, for 100 miles. Golly, dude.
Now, if from then on he ran regularly,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
then he would, if he ran regularly from there on, that would have been the day he became a runner.
Okay.
During the run, guess what he was? A runner,
Yeah.
because he was in the run.
Yeah.
But up until that day, he was a farmer.
What made him join the race? Dude, that's just like, I'm still stuck on the fact that he did it. I mean, that's insane. 100 miles will kill you, dude. Golly, dude, like shin splints and broken feet. And
Maybe he was crazy.
I mean, he might have just lost his mind. Some of those guys, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Maybe he was a crazy person. Maybe he was evil and a serial killer. I judged him as being a good man. I shouldn't judge a tree till I get to know what his fruit is. But I'll tell you this, in that tiny vignette of that guy's life and him just hitting like a meteor into the running community.
Yeah,
Come
dude.
on.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
sick, dude.
awesome.
I want him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Dude,
well,
that's
I
so
also
sick.
was listening to an interview with a female runner who also kills the ultra, and she doesn't sleep either, and she has hallucinations.
Yeah.
The whole like last third of the
Yes.
gigantic race.
Yes.
And she learned how to cooperate with her hallucinations.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
I just think that's so cool.
Yeah.
And someone would say, "Are you a runner?" I could be running right now, and I won't be a runner. But my friend Jason Wren has dedicated a certain amount. So there's a huge degree to which I'm highly, highly sympathetic to watching the 9 Club. What makes a skateboarder? Watching these boys thrashing out decades of involvement in who is, who isn't a skater.
Yeah.
And trying to distill it.
Yeah. And I don't think the question's stupid at all. I think it's a legitimate question. And taking on honestly, I think it can produce really interesting results. That's why I really like P-Rod's kind of end place where he just said, it's just in your heart. And I was like, you know what? For a conversation that big, that's a really simplistic and great answer.
And for a person who runs a brand that needs to sell skateboards to people,
Yeah.
I never understand how gatekeeping works when your job is to make more skateboarders buy your stuff.
Right.
Then also you should be make more skateboarders.
Yeah,
like
so
just
you would
make
think.
more of them. And sometimes casting a larger definition of what a skateboarder is. You would be a runner. If you run a block because you want to, you're a runner. I want to be a runner.
You could run the block.
I want to now. What he said made me want to go running.
Yeah. Dude, I run 3 times a week and it's horrible.
Luke's a runner. Oh, wait. It's horrible?
Well, it's because I've been vaping.
You don't love it? No, vaping doesn't affect your running.
Oh, trust me, brother.
Oh, that's
It
ridiculous.
does.
No,
What I do now is
vaping
just throw in a
completely
Zen
wrong.
before I start.
Yep.
You get that nice nicotine buzz as you're running. I actually don't do that, but that's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, dude.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Just normally, because your mouth feels weird and you just want to spit and stuff. It's
Do you
fine.
spit while you run?
Yeah. It clears out the nose and stuff, especially because I'm coming off the vape train right now. So you got all that gunk kind of
Gunk?
still coming out. Yeah, gunk.
No, dude, there's nothing in it.
God, dude, this guy.
Okay.
Brought to you by Big Vape.
One of the dumbest guys on the internet, Lou Ross.
Hi, how are you?
For what it's worth.
Yeah.
So
Just remember
I did
YouTube,
not get involved with this to come off like I know that I'm smart. Now,
You're a fart smeller.
there we are. So
Smart fella.
what I noticed when I first got involved in the great contention to contribute, aka politics, right? Bad politicians just want the power. We think that the term politician is fully defined by those people that just want the power, right? The problem is people who aspire to serve, they actually are the good definition of it. when I got involved in skateboarding, I wanted the chance to bring value. I got involved with a truly American-made brand. Jim Gray was making the boards. It was a super legit
That's awesome.
operation, full of rippers. I loved opening up accounts in other states. I loved that we got to be present to a generation of young skaters. There were a lot of skaters back then, and just wow, you know. And I loved making a contribution that was like upside down prize giveaways, where I would do a kickflip contest outside the demo, where all the disqualified kids were sitting, and I would give, of course, I'd give a prize to the person who did the best trick, but then I would go ahead. This has now become really, I think it's always been common.
Yeah.
I think everyone does this, but like I really majored on the kid with the worst board, the kid who took the hardest slam.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, different applause awards for people. I've been told when I do things like that I really flipped it upside down. I don't know why. Everyone should be doing that. So they came out hard when I started my own brand with "He's Not a Real Skateboarder." And then the second thing they did was, because I kept showing up at things, is a certain kind of behavior began to happen from the industry that made you not want to show up. So if we can't disqualify him by reputation as a skateboarder, let's attack his reputation and let's attack his person. I think everybody knows that stuff happened to me, that it hangs with a 3-period ellipse in my life.
Yeah.
That it's an heretofore unresolved thing that hangs. It might not be all good, but I'm good. And I realized in 2017 that it was going to have to be a podcast, and that my involvement at trying to make a contribution was going to have to be media, because the things that were holding people back from enjoying skateboarding had more to do with bad ideas put forth by the club of the reinforcement of this club of qualified people. And that's what I find on the 9 Club, is there's a very strong history of some very bad ideas running the thing, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And they are not interested in really taking that up. So they flow around it and they sort of stick to the nice parts.
Yeah.
Which, again, but the best thing I've seen from the 9 Club this week, now I thought we really needed to talk about this.
Good.
They did an ad for Field of Greens supplement.
Okay.
Bro.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen them do it?
No.
These guys really are in Hollywood.
They like do the whole,
Their
like
ad,
a bit.
Their ad read for Field of Greens, they had it divided into this skit that sounded like they were having a conversation with each other.
Okay.
But you knew it was ad copy reading.
Yeah.
Because they had it in front of them.
Right.
And they were all so hilarious. And it was so endearing. I thought, geez, these guys, I'm glad they have a sponsor, and I'm glad they're having fun with the read for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just loved it. And it was like my dad heart was just overflowing for these kids. They're all 20 years younger than me or something.
Right.
And I don't think they're 20 years younger. They're
like
like 10 or 8 years younger than me.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always nice when you have a deal like that. There's some animosity in the way that you think towards a thing, and then they do something that you just really like. It's nice to have something that kind of balances out that scale a little bit.
Who are the 9 Club? We've got Chris Roberts, Jerron
Wilson.
He is from The Man Who Sold the World days.
Yes.
He's from way back then. I was already skating for 5 years, and he's from the point of inflection, the pivot point.
Sure.
When skateboarding turned away from what I came to skateboarding for. I love that. I love that Jerron is on there and reps that generation. He helps me understand so many things. Chris Roberts, he is the guy. I like him.
Yes.
He has a soft voice and he has very big eyes.
Yes.
He does.
Yes.
He has a remarkable physicality. I just think he's super well casted.
Yes.
Then there's a guy named Kelly Hart.
Yes.
I don't know if it's EY or Y. I'm putting Y. Kelly, H-A-R-T.
I'll tell you right now.
And Kelly has had like video parts and stuff like that. I feel like he's out of the... I feel like these boys are in the Krail Tap lane of the distro.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
and the cultural division. I might be wrong.
It's like Chocolate and Girl.
And then there's another one, and he's a little quieter. Kelly Hart.
Chris Roberts, Jerome Wilson, and Kelly Hart.
And then Roger Bagley. Is that not Roger Bagley?
It is, it looks like. Is he on all the time, though?
I don't know, but he has been on a lot.
Buddy.
What's wrong?
I'm just on Google, and there's one of the drop downs you can do, and it's like, what happened to Roger on the 9 Club? And it says, Roger Bagley, known for his jovial personality and infectious laughter, revealed that he'd been battling depression and suicidal thoughts. I'm so sorry, dude.
Oh my gosh,
huge
hugs to Roger Bagley.
Yeah.
Listen, all of this talking about things that we do on here.
Yeah.
And then you touch that third rail.
Yeah, I know, dude.
The human level.
Yeah.
My goodness. God bless you, Roger Bagley. We love you over here at the CapmLew podcast.
We do.
And thank you all. Thank you to Chris Roberts. Thank you, Jerron Wilson, Kelly Hart, and Roger Bagley for giving us your thoughts and your perspectives for us to not get around and talk about.
Yeah.
Thank you for being vulnerable and creating media that we do and don't agree with.
Yeah.
And that causes us to have thoughts and make words and make our own media.
Yeah.
Honestly, huge hugs to Roger and to Kelly and to Jerron and to Chris for running the 9 Club.
Yeah.
I think they're heroic. I know that they're not pulling in huge money by doing what they're doing, especially in the economy in which they live.
Yes, for sure.
And huge.
Where are they based? Are they in New York?
They're in L.A.
They're
in L.A. And that studio, as far as I heard, I thought it was in Roger's or Kelly's house.
Oh,
or
interesting.
apartment.
Sure, like somebody's like
spot. I don't know, but it's probably not unlike the upper sanctum here.
Yeah, right. Which is cool, man.
But we're honored to take a minute today just to give love and respect to the guys at the 9 Club.
Yeah.
We love and often disagree with your take on things. We don't necessarily disagree, but we contrast it.
Yes.
From our perspective.
Yeah.
Those contrasts can feel like disagreements.
They're not really.
But how can you disagree? I guess you can. Sometimes where someone comes from, they wind up with a set of ideas that rule their brain and their mind and their soul and their, I don't know, your spirit, whatever. You wind up later on in life and you realize, oh, I see values that need to change, grow, maybe more of the same value.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe more.
Yeah,
but in regard to what makes a skateboarder, great little piece of media.
Yes.
I'm all kicking around in my emotions about it because, as I've shared, I've got real experience not only being vilified as not a real skateboarder, but watching what happens to vulnerable people. I wasn't vulnerable.
Yeah.
Call me not a real skateboarder, and I'm like, of course not.
Yeah.
Almost nobody is a real anything. Now do biker.
Yeah.
Now do, what does it take to be a tennis player? How high do you have to score on the thing that yada yada yada,
course,
and all these things. And while y'all are talking about it, I'm going to be out playing with my stupid skateboard, doing stupid frontside grinds.
Right.
I was talking to a guy when we were skating on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Sunday?
Did you see me? Was it Sunday?
It was.
It was, yeah. I was skating on Sunday, and I was saying to this guy, I was like, I can't do bonelesses.
Okay.
Because I have a hard time bending down, grabbing my board that way, and then stepping off, and I was doing it.
Okay.
And I was doing the first one, this guy was like, what's a boneless?
Whoa.
Awesome. It was something like that, He was really not... who was asking me what's a boneless?
Was it that guy with the...
It was Tori Pudwell.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
no,
it was Tori Pudwell.
It wasn't Pudwell. It was Pudwill. What do we call him?
Tori Pudwell.
Pudwell. That's what you said. Okay.
Yeah, that's a real person's name.
Yeah, but we called him something else. We
no.
changed the name
I just called him Tori Pudwell. The other guy, I called him Gifted Hater.
Yes,
because he had he had big glasses on,
yeah.
right? And so, you started playing with the name,
I thought
but I never did. I was literally saying, dude, he was in a winter hat on a 90-degree day, and he had glorious locks, and he had like a sports
jersey,
it was like a hockey jersey on,
yeah.
And I was like, hey, I told him, I was like, hey guys, you two, I gotta tell you something. I gave you nicknames. You're gonna have that,
right?
And then I was like, I nicknamed you Gifted Hater because, well, look at yourself.
You did.
And he was cracking up because he really looked like Joa.
He did.
And then the other kid, I was like, you look like Tori Pudwill. And he's like, I've only been skating for a month. I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, that was sick.
And
everything was fresh and new.
And he was doing pop shove-its.
Yeah, front side.
He was doing front side pop shove-its and trying to land a heel flip.
Yes.
And he wasn't really like landing them, but boy, he was digging in on them.
Yeah, it was sick.
You could tell he had a vision.
Yes.
He was going for it.
Yes.
And I guess at one point he was asking me, like, what's a boneless? Or I was talking about bonelesses, and I was like, I can't do them.
Yeah.
And so I reached down, I went up the bank, I reached down, I grabbed my board, I picked it up, and I had to walk away from it. And I was like, and then I thought, what if I let my butt hang back?
Yeah,
And instead of reaching down to get my board, I reach out.
Yes.
And then when I put my foot down, instead of jumping like in the line I was going, I'll just jump out and back.
Yes.
Into the nicest boneless.
You did one?
Yeah, and I realized why I hate bonelesses.
Because
I don't possess the self-discipline to just finish learning them.
I know, dude.
And then to dial them into something I love doing.
I know.
And in that moment, I thought, wow, bonelesses, you're really fun to do. See you next year.
Yeah, see you next year. Yeah, later. Yeah, we'll get you next time around, son.
So
that's awesome.
That was so funny because I did like the nicest boneless.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it wasn't big, but it was like, oh, you got to hang your butt back.
Yes.
Don't be over the top of your board when you put your foot down. You got to like come off center and let your board be way in front of you.
Yes.
Oh.
I did the same thing. I was like, as soon as I figured out that it was just a no compliant grabbing my board, it all clicked. Because instead of grabbing down, I had the same thing. I didn't want to reach down, but I
did
popped
you bring
the
your board up
to my hand, and then it's just right there. Like.
So I'm different because I'm not good at things.
That's not true.
No, I'm happy.
No, but it's really not true. I watched you do air. You always do that air over that hip at Florence, and it's so gnarly, dude. You're like 16 inches off the top of the freaking thing. It's nuts.
You're talking about the one that you guys do grabs over, and I'm just barely surviving. I'm just barely surviving myself.
True, dude. That's not true.
Well,
I would never do that front side the way that you do it. You're a sauvage, dude.
You're talking about the from the quarter into the bank?
No, I'm talking about on the tabletop with the quarter pipes, and you hit it front side on it. It's noping tabletop. And you go off the diving board kind of into the quarter pipe on the other side, and you're like this far off the ground at speed.
Are you talking about the fly box?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about when I like zip down at speed and I go like up the fly box on the top and then down the fly box?
No, I'm talking when you air over the fly box, the diving board section.
I remember the diving board because the fly box top narrows down into a diving board.
Yes.
That's a good name for that.
Yeah.
Is that what that's called?
I have no idea.
I think it is. Yeah. Hey, everyone, we'd like to congratulate you. We have now named what it is called when you have the top of...
He's going to draw it.
I'm drawing it.
Are you going to do it in 3D so people kind of see? Oh, you are.
You have.
Yes.
When you have a tabletop that has a diving board on it. Yeah.
Right,
so what Luke's talking about is I come up this way and I front side from here
almost
to here.
I don't know, dude. Sometimes
he thought it might have been there.
Well, I don't know if you're all the way over to the flat, but you're definitely moving in that direction. And it's at speed too.
I do. I'm going
front side.
I'm going Mach 0.00000001.6.
Yeah. So like
and
17 miles an hour.
Yeah, right. Like 17 miles an hour.
But on a skateboard, you might as well be. I mean, you're.
I might be going 25.
I don't know. 25 is so quick, dude.
We got to do some tests.
We should get a radar gun. That would be so much fun.
No, we have a speedometer.
On the phone?
No, on my motorcycle.
Dude,
no, trust me.
I don't.
Trust
I'm not
me.
interested.
No,
We'll tow you
I'll
in.
pull you. No,
Okay.
you, not me.
We'll tow you.
I'm on the motorcycle.
I'll have to air over the tabletop as well.
No,
on your Dyna.
just to feel what the speed feels like.
Dude, I guarantee we're not going faster
You know what?
than 15.
You're right. Radar gun.
Radar gun, yeah.
I was going CapmLew. That's funny,
CapmLew,
Jason
yes.
Wren. So,
Yes,
anyways,
anyway, yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
You did it
just
boneless.
love you, Roger Bagley.
Yeah.
We sincerely wish all of the guys over at the 9 Club well. We appreciate and thank you for putting so much work and heart into trying to make media for all the hooligans to enjoy.
Yes.
And yeah, we definitely take exception to certain notions.
Yeah.
But you're going to have that. That's part of being a big old community of people who love skateboarding.
Yeah.
I mean, not enough to actually be called a skateboarder, evidently.
Yeah, or
you know?
whatever. Yeah, whatever that takes.
I ain't putting that on the 9 Club. I think they did a great job. I don't think they arrived at a really working definition, though.
No.
Did they?
I don't think so.
No.
But I agree with you.
I think they settled. Yeah, it has to be in
your
has
heart.
to be in your heart.
That's what P-Rod settled at, and I agreed with him. I mean, you could get, that's a 2-hour conversation.
You just have to love it. It's in your heart.
Yes.
And then they made fun of Spanish Mike.
Yeah, for never skating.
But when he said you just have to love it, it's in your heart, and then they made fun of Spanish Mike, they started.
Yeah.
Then someone said, what if you love it but you don't ride? And P-Rod filed that under, it's a mystery.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes.
That was strength. All right. Spanish Mike is good at skating,
Yeah.
but he doesn't like doing it.
Good for him,
And
man.
they lifted that up as a question. What if someone's good at skating,
Yeah.
but they don't like doing it? What if you run 3 times a week,
Yeah.
but you hate it
Yes.
every minute?
Well-
Obviously, you don't if you're doing it, though.
I mean, there is an aspect that I love. That's how I feel about skateboarding in a lot of ways. Like, I kind of hate it right now, but I love doing it. It's a strange, I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on.
Then they brought up, they said, let's get, I filed this under nuts and bolts of the conversation. They said, if you at least know some tricks and can hold a conversation.
Yeah.
That was talk the talk earlier on.
Sure.
They now were like, no, you need to care and know about it enough to hold with a fluid conversation of the contemporary context. That was their deal. These were good qualifiers.
Well,
I
except
thought that was,
Tori Pudwell at FloPo the other day he couldn't hold a conversation
yeah, he
robustly.
could. He could, because his part in the conversation was he wanted to know more.
Yeah, but
Right.
I think the qualifier that they're using would say that you would already have to know like what a boneless is and
No, yeah, okay, maybe
right?
that's what they
You know,
meant.
I think that's
but
what they meant.
I think that what they said
Right.
really works, because I can hold a conversation in which I don't know who the ranking pros in Street League are.
Yeah.
But when somebody comes out and they want to talk like about Ginwoo, what's his name?
Sure.
The little kid in the turquoise socks who came out and
shredded.
in a full karate back stance
Yes.
did the sickest run.
Yeah.
And redefined youth skateboarding standards.
Dude, as I recall, that guy did a front blunt to a backside big spin out.
That's what he did. Yeah.
Or a back blunt to a backside big spin out.
Big flip out?
No, it was I think it was a big spin,
Yeah.
which is insane, dude. It really was nuts. I mean, you know what this conversation reminds me of? I was when I lived in Denver, we would go out and have a drink at the bars, and really just so we could smoke a pack of cigarettes out on the deck. So we were doing that. We went into this room in the bar, and there was a bunch of this art hanging on the wall. And one of the art pieces was a cork board with just a bunch of pins in it. And it was for sale for like $250. I was with a friend, and he was like, "This is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. How can somebody call this art?" And we had this very interesting conversation about what is art. You know what I mean? Define it. Like, it's a fascinating...
Okay.
It's the same thing with what is a skateboarder.
Because what is art used to mean something very substantive and measurable.
Yes.
But in the postmodern age in
Everything
which we
is
live,
everything, right.
everything is everything,
Right.
and everything is nothing at the same time. I think that you and I make almost a postmodern argument for what makes a skateboarder, Because we don't draw a circle around the set.
Yeah, but I understand why people want to. I think it's a legitimate.
I do too.
It's legitimate to say, I love skateboarding. This is a culture I'm really a part of, and I think it's it's careful. The ice gets thin because you're going to start.
Yeah, but that's where all the fun is at.
Yeah, right. I like it when it gets thin.
Right.
So there's a legitimate concern to say, I love this, and this is a thing that I like to do, and it's hard for me to watch people who obviously don't love it say that they're as committed as I am to it. There's a lot there, but so I think the conversation is legitimate. You know, I always hold like, you know, this is everyone only, you know, but for myself, like I run, and I guess I could call myself a runner, but I wouldn't call myself a bodybuilder. But I lift weights 3 times a week, and I have a program that I'm on, and I'm cognizant of it. You know what I mean?
I think what's even more is bodybuilders wouldn't call you a bodybuilder.
No, they wouldn't. But I could make this same argument and say, well, I lift the weights, I'm on the same program, I do the same kind of workouts that you guys do, so I am a bodybuilder in my own right.
Oof.
But inside of my own heart, I know that that isn't true, and I want to have integrity in my life. So, like...
But if you went to buy some weights and some stuff for your working out,
yeah,
and you walked into a store, and they took one look at you,
yeah,
tall, skinny,
yeah,
you know, you kind of have a gut.
Stop. You don't have a thyroid problem. I told you that in confidence.
I'm working on it. Right?
Yeah.
You walk in there with your I'm working on it, and you want to buy a bunch of weights,
yeah,
and the guy behind the counter is unfriendly to you.
Yeah.
Because you're not a bodybuilder.
Sure.
That would be a weird interaction, wouldn't it?
But you know what's insane?
What?
The difference between gym culture and skateboarding culture. If you're at the gym and people can see that you're giving good faith effort, I'm gonna like cry talking about it because it's so sick. They literally have your back. Like, because the gym is you against you.
Is that not true in skate culture? Just thinking of the last 10 times that you and I... Oh, wait. Nobody was there.
Yeah, right. Besides the fact nobody was there. But we're like that with people. And there's a lot of gym people who have spent 15 years and have lifted all the weights and knows, you know, what it's like to be little nothing and, you know, trying to put up 135 on the bench.
98-pound weakling.
Yeah, literally.
The old Charlie Atlas
Yeah.
ads that were in print.
Yeah.
98-pound weakling was getting sand kicked in his face in front of his girlfriend,
Right.
and the
Yes.
big guy walks off with
Yes.
his girlfriend, and
Right.
Charlie Atlas wants to sell you a workout regime. This
Yes.
is in the, like, 40s.
Yes. And some people do market on that.
Jason Wren asks a question, but would calling yourself a bodybuilder change the world of bodybuilding one iota? And he says no.
I don't... Yes, in that context, I would agree with you, it wouldn't. But if everybody who lifted weights saw me calling myself a bodybuilder and I was a viral TikTok dude, then everybody who's ever lifted weights said, yeah, then I'm a bodybuilder too, then that would change things a little bit. Or at least change the dynamic.
And
you
so
know what
then
I
I'm
mean?
asking the next question is, how would it change everything? And I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, so if a guy goes in, because I follow people on the medias who inspire me. Some of the people who make me weep with inspiration are these really out of shape, unwell people who they are very far gone. Yeah. And then whether they're super like skinny or super fat, they say, I've got to get healthy, and one way I'm going to do it is by starting this TikTok. I'm going to go on this journey. Yeah. Some of them call it a weight loss journey. Some of them call it a journey back to health. Yeah. For some people, those two are synonymous. But then they start posting, and I'm watching, and I'm looking at like this one guy, and he's like enormous. Yeah. You know, really far gone. Yes. And now he is like crushing. Yeah. Yep. He's like love those videos. Crushing. Yes. Right.
So encouraging.
I look at that and I weep. And I think, okay, so if I had to pick a group of people to work out with, I definitely can't lift the same weights as that guy. He's much stronger than I am because I am in pretty fair shape. Yeah. But I want to work out with those guys. They inspire me to actually go to a gym. They inspire me to say, it doesn't matter where I started. It doesn't matter where I end up. Yes. It just matters the direction I'm going. Sure. And just keep going. I look at that, right? Right. If a guy If a guy says, I'm a bodybuilder, I'm coming in, I'm going to be a bodybuilder, and he's really wimpy,
Yeah,
you know, and he never really attains goals and stuff.
Sure.
I don't see that destroying, because then what happens is we get a refining. Because if you translate it to skateboarding and I say, hey, guess what, fools?
Yeah.
If you want to be, you're a skateboarder, all right?
Yeah.
Then you have a question, okay, well, who's a very skilled skateboarder? Nice.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Everybody vote for Tommy Story and Floyd Howard Pruitt.
Yes.
For Skate Park Hero.
Yes.
One of them, is there only one of them that's going to be the hero?
I don't know. I have a friend who's
Tommy's in
finals
second.
as well.
Tommy's in second.
Yeah, but
Is
I have
Floyd
a friend
in
who said
first?
he was in second as well.
Oh, they have multiple second places.
Okay.
As with all things.
As with all things.
Skateboarding.
Yes.
So, listen, the system is rigged. I know because I use it.
You do. There it is. There it is. There it is. The problem is that words are defined by the way that people use them, no matter what's in the dictionary.
So let's say,
you know what I mean?
Let's say a huge open culture revolution happens.
Yes.
Not going to, but it
Right.
happens. And the 9 Club comes in and they're like, no, you know, Pete from Pete's Pigs, who doesn't ollie and never did, is a skateboarder.
Yeah.
Right? And he is. And they would agree.
Yeah, they probably would.
Even though they're farting around with kickflips being like the entry bar, right?
Yeah, in their lane. Yeah.
Sure. That's what they're going to do.
Right.
They're farting around with that, and they're saying, well, this is what defines a skateboarder. And if you can ollie and kickflip, you're a skateboarder lifelong.
Yeah.
Even if you come back to it later. They brought up a cop.
Yeah.
You know, this cop can kickflip, but does that make him a skateboarder?
Yeah.
And I think... Anyway,
Yeah.
I think up things that are going to get me beat up in San Francisco.
Yes, right.
When I think back on the history of skateboarding and
Right.
skateboarders becoming cops so they can mess with people who cross the team. And
Yeah, there
on
it
and
is.
on.
Yes,
It is
dude.
there.
It is.
Oh,
there.
you know
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
Because you watched the documentary yesterday.
Yeah, right.
There are stories.
Yeah, wild. Yes, 100%.
So there I am, and I'm looking, and I'm like, what if they blew the doors off it and said, you know what, if you like skateboarding a lot and you ride one once in a while, you're in the group, you're a skateboarder.
Yeah.
Well, then they can move on. All of the distinctions that they're defending still exist, because now there's a question of, are you a good skateboarder?
Yeah.
And that's great. Are you a skilled skateboarder? Are you an amateur level skateboarder?
Yeah.
And if you're still an am, why are you better than the pros? And what makes a pro skateboarder?
Yes,
because the
right.
pros show up for work on time.
Yes.
And they're gonna, like
Yes,
that.
right.
And you get to, but when you envelop everyone in the community, it's good for your market, fools.
It is.
Would have been smart if you had hugged on those longboarders.
Yeah.
A lot of market was lost. It would have been smart if Berto and Leticia hadn't picked on kids for what brand of shoe they wore.
Crazy.
You know?
Right.
They wouldn't have had to go to China for $12 skateboards to keep their brand alive long past the point at which they should have packed it up.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
That's pretty incisive of me to say that.
Well,
those are cutting remarks, and I want to just give out a big, no disrespect intended, but I don't respect that, to basically everything Consolidated ever did, especially its impact in the Midwest.
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm a bully.
Yeah. Oh, right. I forgot.
I just go around
right.
picking on kids who kickflip.
Exactly. There it is, dude.
And people who pick on kids who can't.
Yes. I love
Wait.
it. Yeah. Does that make us...
Picking on kids who kickflip and industry people who pick on kids who can't. The first thing we don't do. The second thing we do.
Oh, great, yeah.
Picking on kids because they can't kickflip. I think it's being eradicated. I think that so many folks are sweetening up and wising up and realizing, like, hey, man, we're not gonna get anything good out of. It's good to have an established meritocracy. Okay,
Sure.
There is a respectability to achievement in skateboarding.
Right.
There is, but that respectability is limited. There's a limit to how much respect a person should get for being good at playing with a toy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we hold making skateboarding that domain your entire life is not a good idea, because there's so much more to life than skateboarding.
Speaking of life skateboards.
Stop.
Speaking of life skateboards, at Life Skateboards, not only are they involved in being good at skateboarding to, I think, an acceptable degree, although they're more on the Pete's Pigs end of the spectrum than they are on the goldfish good old Goldfish end of the spectrum, right? The historic, strong man. These guys are more the quirky artistic man, Casper.
Yes.
Right? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Right? So not only are they involved with being good at skateboarding, but they're involved at being good at skateboard making.
Yes.
And here's where it's time for a sea change. A board that lasts for 3, 7, 9 months is not only produced from stands of trees that have been harvested in cycle for over 200 years, a truly sustainable maple product.
Yeah.
Okay. That hasn't burned the diesel fuel and the raw diesel to travel to China and back.
Yes.
Okay. But also, what do you get? You hard skating fools. What do you get? 1 to 4 weeks of jumping down stuff on your boards.
Right.
What are they lasting now? Because I'll tell you, the brands are not shifting to the $43 Chinese product that does hold up to this. They're on the $13 and $12 Chinese product.
Yeah.
For survival.
Absolutely.
That product is not holding you up. So you buy a board, you buy your shop blank deck, which they used to call deluxe wood. That ended in 2010, and it was a beautiful thing.
It's deluxe wood.
Coincided in the year when I went to Deluxe and asked Jim Thiebaud, why do all the shops say they're on deluxe wood? I started with, you guys really need to step up your quality. And he says, what are you talking about? I said, well, all these shops say they're on deluxe wood. They say, oh, it's that deluxe wood.
There you go.
And you guys, your name is mud because these boards out of the deluxe lane are terrible. And he says, well, first of all, our boards are generator. Well, they're not.
Yes,
they're bareback.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
There you go.
And that relationship.
Yes.
And especially back then,
Right.
And then it stopped happening. It stopped happening.
Yes, and then it was done.
Probably because they had a cop. They had their own cop.
Yes, right, on the payroll.
And so anyways, here I am. And here we are. If you opened it up wide and you just let it be, so fun.
Yeah.
For everyone.
And then
you let people be different kinds of skateboarders. Because
Right.
then a person could be a skateboarder who is a freestyler. Which, guys, freestyle is taking off despite the best efforts of the mainstream industry. These were your gods. This was your Bible.
Yeah.
And it worked to keep you dumber. And that's terrible. There were sweet things that happened as well.
Sure.
And there were even good things that were done as well. But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that we shouldn't ought to be deprogramming off of some of that.
Yeah.
And also doing our best to not program back into similar mistakes in the future.
Yes.
And then freestyle, slalom, downhill, push culture, NYC push culture. It's huge, dude.
Yeah.
It's huge. All these products could have been coming through our local skate shop. Plus the pushing of Nike and the pushing back against Nike, walking into
at the same time,
walking into a skate shop with a "Don't Do It" sticker on the door and
Yeah.
being immediately afflicted with a wall full of Nike shoes.
Yeah, like keep it core, bro.
And the whole core message, and then being told, yeah, well, we do keep it core. We're just using Nike money in order to keep it core here. And then, in the same moment, finding out a bunch of kids started building a DIY, and that shop shut the kids down.
There we go.
And said, you can't do this without our sign off. And then the shop, apparently, by the telling of the story, never remembered to come around and work with those kids.
There you go.
And so the kids just quit.
There it is. Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy, oh boy. And these obviously you can tell I've got it's not PTSD, but I have a chip on my shoulder about that sort of thing. I'd like to see it now that it's largely, eaten itself gone.
Yes.
I'd love to see it not return.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It would be nice.
Yeah. Well, I think the more we go skate, the more likely it will be that it won't.
I think that is actually the answer.
I think it is. I think we should go skate more.
I think that's the simple answer to it. Is just go skate more, love more,
Yeah.
speak your mind more.
Yeah.
and risk
defamation and death threats.
I've been trying to COMS.
Comms?
Go ahead. What is it, Jason Wren?
What is it? COMS.
I thought of a t-shirt idea for us.
Yes.
Nothing is cool, and neither am I.
Yes, dude, that would be great.
And on the back, and neither are you.
And neither are you.
And then at the bottom, especially you.
Especially you. And especially you. In parentheses.
On the bottom hem.
Yes.
And especially you.
Yes, right.
That's a great.
Chip on my shoulder.
Yeah.
COMS. He's writing it down. T-shirt ideas.
Especially you and bottom hem. No, and neither are you. Especially you.
Especially you.
Because you know you just can't.
Yeah, come on, man.
Because you know you just can't.
Yeah, of course. Gosh, dude.
That's a great t-shirt.
It actually is.
That's
really
a great,
good
for
one.
what it's worth, CapmLew podcast. Nothing is cool on the front. Neither are you on the back, and at the bottom is especially you.
Yes, right. Yeah,
you know, in the corner. That's our.
Yes.
We're gonna continue to do push foot hip print
Yeah.
on those, and as opposed to PTSD. It's not PTSD. I was talking to a professional counselor, two of them. I was out to dinner with professional counselors the other day as friends, and one of them just narrowed in on me. I was like, "You have PTSD."
Dang it.
I had one of those moments where I was like, dude, I said, I could harvest myself at least 2 major psychological diagnoses at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
If I just went in and said, these things have happened.
Yeah.
You know? And so could you and you and you. Completely, absolutely. And that doesn't mean that I don't have PTSD.
It's fine.
But I would not trade the childhood I had for most of the childhoods I hear about.
True that.
And anybody that won't let people talk about their childhoods, I'm not interested in them either.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when they're still a child and things are happening through their skate shop or in the skateboarding community that need to be talked about.
It's true.
I hate that.
Yeah, me too, dude.
Yeah. I have a chip on my shoulder. What's weird for me is that in the middle of all this silly, ephemeral bully culture stuff, I like that gaslight yourself with it's all fine.
It's all fine.
I did that today. I was writing today and I was like gaslighting myself so hard.
Dude, you poor buddy.
No, it was hilarious.
I'm fine.
I wrote something like, will I skate today? Heck no. Maybe. Probably not.
Heck no. Maybe. Probably not.
I really enjoyed the morning. I wrote some stuff today. I'm going to read some of it.
Yeah, I like it.
I wrote Kids by Harmony Korine.
Yes.
Zoo York and young Brandon Westgate.
Oh, dude, I love Brandon Westgate.
Yeah. Did you watch his epically latered on Vice?
Dude, yeah.
Do you remember that? I sent you some of that, right?
Dude, I forgot. I wish I'd never seen it.
Right.
That sucked.
Right. It was so strange how Steve Rodriguez would just put it right out there, the things that they were doing with a 14, 15-year-old child.
America's corporate lawyer was having a fucking aneurysm.
Those were the people who ushered in and experienced the Harold Hunter.
Yes.
I was in the Hudson Valley during that time, and I was watching. I don't actually think you have a chip. Jason Wren thinks I don't have a chip. I know why. It's because he sees that chip on my shoulder. He's like, "That's not a chip. This is a chip."
Take a look at this thing, boy.
I love Jason.
Gosh, dude.
So I was listening to the Concrete podcast, which is
that another skateboarding podcast?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's just a really good podcast.
Okay.
And they were just into some stuff that was like, wow, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and rough stuff, you know, really rough. And very related to how I see so much with skateboarding. So I was like, Kids with Harmony Korine, Harold Hunter and his opiate death, because opioids weren't available at the time. You had to have opiates.
Yeah, right.
Everybody was going to the bar. They were going to the bar and having a few beers and a bump of heroin. That was what everyone did back then. That was how people partied. And you know what? A lot of them didn't wind up dead or junkies.
Yeah. I'm happy for him.
It was extremely widespread, but that is some grace of God stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of them did,
though,
because that's what that does.
Yes.
Right? So I wrote, I said, come on. I wrote Kids, Harmony Korine, Zoo York and young Brandon Westgate, Harold Hunter, a bump at the bar, come on. It's a cumulative, habituating, progressive degradation from the mainstream cultural development of the 90s.
That's true.
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Monk, Phelps, Dylan, Grosso, and we better not lose Andy Roy.
I'll be so pissed.
I am like pre-raging on behalf of this precious man who, oh my goodness, the love I have for Andy Roy.
Get it.
Love you, Andy Roy. Please stay in the fight. Please stay sober. Bro, crack your Bible. Dig in, Andy. If you've ever found anything that you were stoked on, I have a suspicion you're gonna be stoked on what you find. All right, so I called Andy Roy the outlier survivor, but the story's not done yet.
Yeah.
And I called Grosso the outlier survivor, and then we lost him.
Yeah.
And time will tell, but history not written by winners says that we all know what could happen.
Yeah.
And I was just struggling with the feeling that we need to be not an antithesis, but a balance to the 9 Club.
Yeah.
Where we major on conflict and that sort of stuff, but not like Gifted Hater does.
Yeah, I mean he's full bore.
Bro, I love Gifted
Hater. It's on
Hater.
purpose. Yeah, I love it.
No, I see it as an ecosystem, and it falls out of balance when you don't have certain people.
Yes. And
I love that you've got John Hill.
Yeah.
He makes really clean, neat, well-packaged, lo-fi hip-hop and jazz stuff.
Yeah. Does he do jazz and hip-hop stuff?
Yeah. He uses public domain music, or he has a friend who's a great artist.
Okay.
And, I mean, I hate it.
Yeah.
No. I hate the music.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy watching, and the music fits it.
Sure.
And I don't hate the content.
Yeah.
I have hated the content.
Dude.
I have. I sincerely, you've got like a John Hill, and then you've got like a Gifted Hater over here.
Yeah.
And Gifted is a treasure.
Yes.
He would eat me alive.
Dude, yeah.
Absolutely.
I can't wait till he finds one of our videos.
He would be right about every single thing he says about me.
I know. It's brutal.
No, dude. If I were ever culturally brutalized by Gifted Hater, it would be freaking feather in my cap. That would be lovely.
It's like when samurais fight and the one guy's like, "It'll be an honor to kill you." Like
it'll be an honor to be killed by you.
Yeah, right. Gifted, it'll be an honor to be killed by you.
Then you have some scrubby outliers.
What about like Dumb Data? I mean,
Dumb Data is one of the outliers. He's not scrubby, but his material's so hard to make.
Well, dude, it's insane.
Yeah, his material. I never cared about Battle at the Barracks until Dumb Data and Gifted Hater.
Yeah.
Started talking about things about it, and Dumb Data, I really have started to enjoy watching games of skate, which never were my deal, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I'm 38 years in, and I think I'm really starting to enjoy some of this stuff.
I know.
I mean, it's outside my world and my realm, and it's outside my reach in terms of my human physical carcass dragging, carcass tossing.
Yeah.
But wow.
It's fun to watch. I love watching games of skate. Like the Battle of Bears, I enjoy watching them just because, I mean, the guys are so talented.
But I had a huge, what I saw was that, like, it imprisoned the minds of the young.
Oh, for sure.
And then I showed up, and the minds of the young began to respond to, like, zinging around as an old guy.
Yeah.
And then it was like a bunch of people swooped in, like, we can't have that. We can't have that.
Right.
And then they did some really harsh things that were inexcusably beyond the pale.
Yeah.
And so many hoofta,
yes.
you know?
Right.
And I thought, I got to start a podcast.
Yeah. And here we
and
are.
keep flying around.
Yes.
Keep doing my thing.
Dude, hilarious. The little kid at the skate park, he was dropping into the mini ramp, just going back and forth, and he watched you do one of those airs over the diving board.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and was like, dude, that guy's so good. It was so sick, dude. It's like, high five, kid. Good for you.
That's the only person that I want
Yeah.
to call me a skateboarder.
I know.
Kelly Hart
Yeah.
can go ahead and say I'm not a real skateboarder,
Yes.
which I don't think he would do.
I don't think so either.
But if he did, I would love it.
Yeah.
I would just
Let it wash
I'd just
over
bathe
you.
in it.
Yeah, let it
Oh,
wash
the
over-
scorn.
Yeah,
I know
yes.
these sweet cold showers of scorn.
Yes,
They
dude.
get your blood going.
Yes,
You know.
absolutely.
I do not mean to color them at the 9 Club as bullies, but I do color them as friends of bullies.
Yep.
And I do color them as obscurers
Yeah.
and revisionists of history.
Yeah.
They are willing to sit with people who engendered fundamental bully culture,
Yeah.
and I don't think any of them can see it because they loved it.
Yes.
It is their misty-eyed.
Yes.
Why can't we go back to when
Yeah.
they were kicking people out of the spot who didn't have chops to be at the spot? Back
Right.
when we had mayors,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, back when we had gatekeepers and mayors. I don't know. Maybe they like it better now, but
I wish that they'd find some of our content. We could go back and forth, like dueling podcasts about a topic. That would actually be really cool.
that would be a dream come true.
I'm looking for a worthy enemy. You know what I mean?
But the thing is,
but like not enemies. Like we would also be talking on the back end. You know.
I think that once I'm back on the bike, probably next year, maybe
Mm-hmm.
end of this year, I'll be back on the bike. Today I was. We can now afford a GoPro,
Oh.
but then I realized we get a GoPro.
Yeah.
That's for the studio.
Yeah.
That's gonna clip right here.
Yes, dude.
This will have the GoPro.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
The iPad will be for information and
Yes.
playing a clip.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then the GoPro will have. I'm not joking.
Go ahead.
We're not only going to spend $280 on
Yeah.
the GoPro.
That's fine.
We're going to get probably a $200 room mic
Oh yeah.
that
We'll
will
just
pick us up
everything,
and
yeah.
kill the rest of what's going on in the room, like Rocco whining right
Whining,
now.
sighing like
he's
he's
lying
dying.
there whining like he's dying.
Yeah.
And he might be. He's 13 years old and he's really on the downhill.
Rocco, are you dying? He seems good.
He's going to go one day.
Dude, that's gonna be a sad day.
That's going to be rough. I'm going to freaking go out and I'm going to buy a $2,000 bulldog that day.
Dude.
I am.
You
I'm gonna
would
get
do
some
something like that.
stupid
You would,
$2,000, $3,000
Gosh,
American
dude.
bully. I'll get an American bully because he can fit on my. I'm gonna lose my mind.
I can see it already.
Seriously.
You're gonna go to like the Snap-on store and buy like $1,500 worth of tools. Then you're gonna go buy a gun, and then you're gonna go buy a
I don't want a
$2,000
gun.
dog.
I don't want a gun. No.
Don't lie.
I don't want guns.
That's crazy for a guy who has them.
Yeah, but I don't want them. In fact, the last thing I wanted, I'm gonna say it. The last thing I wanted
Yeah.
was for guns to be part of life.
Yeah. Well.
That's the last thing I wanted was for guns to be part of life.
Yeah.
That is
I
a
hear ya.
sign that's a sign that the world is not what I was hoping it would be, and it wasn't.
Yeah.
Here's to hoping.
Yeah. Here's to hoping.
So, if we got a back and forth with Gifted Hater, or I wanted to have those kind of conversations with Thrash Talking,
Yeah.
but he's gone off he's kind of gone off the
rails a little bit.
he's gone off from the trajectory that I value
Yeah. We got
presently.
50 seconds.
Oh, hey. Thanks for joining us on the CapmLew podcast. We really appreciate you, your listenership, your support.
Yeah.
We're happy that we can now buy a GoPro
Yes.
and improve the show. This was almost 90 minutes.
Yep.
That was really fun, and it went by really fast. We love you guys at the 9 Club. We love you skateboarders out there. Thanks for joining us, and we will, for what it's worth, be catching you on
the flippity flip.
Yeah.
Send your questions to CapmLew@gmail.
Yeah, do it.
Or you're not a real skateboarder.
Yeah. What do I always say? For what it's worth?
For what it's worth.
This
And then I
is on
say, go ahead, you do yours things.
This is on you.
All right, laters.
Great. 89 minutes and 49 seconds.
Because if you go a second over, Podbean, which is hell, will make you cut off 2 minutes because it doesn't have a slider that makes any sense.
We have paid $40 a month of hard-earned American coin to Podbean
to be bullied
without ever figuring out their UI and without ever succeeding at posting a video episode, when that's why we decided to pay that much, because they did video hosting.
Because it has to be an MP4 file or something.
And I'm listening,
an MOV.
right, and I'm listening to the Concrete podcast, and they do this ad copy read, which ad copy reads fascinate me, all right, because I want to do them. I want to have sponsors and for us to have money and get on the road and buy gas and hotel and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want that. I'm normal. I'm a person just like all of you. I want nice things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm listening to their ad read, and they're reading for Spotify for podcasters. I think it's new.
It is new.
And it's free.
It's free.
And I'm like, wait, we can take the $40 a month that we were putting into our Podbean, and we can put it into a Squarespace.
Yes.
Port over the CapmLew.com domain I've owned for like a year.
Yes.
And have CapmLew.com with a nice Squarespace website with a shop. I can go downstairs, make t-shirts like this t-shirt that I just came up with today, where the front has our logo, which will be For What It's Worth Hardcore X.
Yes.
And nothing is cool, and neither am I on the front. And on the back it's going to say, and neither are you. And at the bottom, on the push bottom, you can get them made. You can get them made regular or goofy.
Yes.
You can get them made switch, but that's just going to be switch regular is going to be goofy, and switch goofy is going to be regular.
Yeah, right.
So there at the push ham, we're going to have especially you.
Especially you.
Because being insulting is our way of making friends with people.
Yes.
We're searching for people who don't take themselves seriously.
Yes.
And we're weeding out the squares.
Yes.
That actually would be a good explanation to our listeners of like, why do you guys hate so hard?
Right.
Why do you hate children who do kick
There it
flips?
is, dude.
You know, and we're just like, look, we're weeding out the squares. That's why we pick on children so hard.
And really, we're reading out the square ideas.
Yeah.
You know, we are.
We weren't picking on kids who do kick flips. We were picking on the former.
Yes.
Because it's changed.
Yes.
Like in the last 3 years, it's changed. But the YouTube consumptible culture that was offered to kids, where kids can sit in their living rooms and experience skateboarding by consuming, where it started them off with kickflip. It started them off with stuff that to us was like, dude, we could do 3 episodes on carving.
I know, dude.
Because you do carving on flat, that's 1 episode.
Yes.
Just freaking carving. All right? And how it relates to just beginning to slide front side, slide back side, right? You just start getting into the surfing. Then you do carving on banks.
Yeah.
And you talk about what happens when you put in incline.
Yes.
And then you add a dimension.
Yes.
And we're doing carving on round wall.
Yes.
And carving on round wall is a whole nother thing.
Yes.
Our first 3 months of content would be all about carving.
Yes.
And they would have like footage of Andy Roy and Jason Adams skating a pool, just like hitting the lip of a pool. And the picture of Hackett just crushing the front side, you know, the straight up and down Hackett. And we've got,
it's on the wall.
We've got, this is behind me. And
I thought that was Hackett. It's not. That's Jay Adams.
That's Jay Adams. Jay Adams is always in my office. I cut the poster so that the door could work.
It's like a priceless poster.
It is. And then down here on the ground we have this guy.
Of course.
He always thinks that he's dying, and he always wishes you would do more
about that.
He wishes you would do more about that. Honestly, dear listeners, we don't understand why you guys haven't helped Rocco more by supporting the podcast.
Oh my gosh, dude. Rocco says.
Pulling out this. We're just going for the heartstrings. How's this for an angle? I think it's terrible. We should do it. We should play with this.
We should.
The studio
might not be a bad.
The studio has a backdrop.
Yeah.
Look at that picture of Rocco next to my skateboard.
That's on a ramp that I know.
Gregory Freeman took that. And also, I put on display, see on top of that black cabinet? Mm-hmm. That's a pair of cut-off army shorts.
Oh my gosh.
And a hip sack from Walker Skateboards. Come on. You can't tell me that's not cool.
It is cool.
And down in the corner down here is like my black belt certificate. Yes. Next to this is a planning thing I did in 2007 on a whiteboard, and I just left it on there, and I never erased it. And then up top we've got, somebody did a picture of Rocco that says capable of tender love. And then there next to it, you can't really see it, but up there there's a hand-drawn pencil picture of me on fire skating with my fingers like this. That was done by the brother of Nick Humphreys.
Oh.
Nick Humphreys and his dear brother accompanied me. They were my bodyguards on a trip to, we went to San Diego for the Black Box distribution, Crossroads thing. Hilarious. Lessons were learned.
Lessons were learned.
Lessons were learned. Up there is a picture that was drawn by, what is that young man's name out in Savannah? We stayed at his house.
No.
His name might be on it.
It's like 3 letters. Mac. Is it Mac?
It is. This is by Mac. Mac Taylor.
Mac Taylor, that's what it is.
Lovely, lovely man.
Yes.
Everything's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. You're fine. I'm fine.
Gosh, dude.
Yeah. But Jay Adams, all the time, he's got my back.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like Jay Adams was an interesting group of guys.
Was an interesting group
I do,
of guys.
because on the one hand, he was a believer like I am.
Yeah.
On the other hand, he was also psychopathic.
Yeah.
And
like
heavily drug addicted.
Guy.
You know?
Yeah, right.
And
did he die of an overdose? Is he another one on the list?
I don't think he did.
Suicide?
And the reason I don't think he did, no, not suicide.
Good.
He died in his 50s in Hawaii on a surfing trip.
Okay.
And the intel that we've gotten is that he died of a heart attack.
Oh, okay.
Which,
heart attack, yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And that's very sad, and we love him, and we mourn his loss, and we recognize he was one of just the coolest people. And also he was horrible. And also he was wonderful. He was a saint and a sinner. He was broken, and he helped people put their lives together. Yeah. And he tore people apart. Yeah. And this is what it's like to be one of us down here. And the real story of any human life in skateboarding is just not going to do what I feel like corporations need it to do. You know what I mean by that?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, the real story of someone's life does what we need it to do. Yeah. It's every bit as ugly and beautiful and inspiring and desperate as they really are.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's why I value, Luke and I are going to talk about it. We watched the 2017 Andy Roy 43-minute long, epically layered Vice documentary. Yeah. And watching Andy Roy's documentary is an experience.
experience.
Dude,
It
really
is.
man.
I almost want to just do a watch party.
I know. That would be fun. We got to figure that out. That would be so much fun. Oh, yes.
It would be heartbreaking, too, because, and we would pause it.
Yeah, of course, yes.
You know, and I think it would take us days to make it through it, because that whole thing is so
much.
It's pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
It's pregnant with meaning.
It's brimming. Yes. Right. It's brimming. It is.
See, this is why our YouTube is valuable, because
we have 17 views on one.
You didn't tell me that.
Well, you were
You
talking
said we
about
had
stuff.
You said
I
we
don't
had
like cutting you
17
off.
subscribers.
We have 17 subscribers, which is way up, and then we have one video that has 17 views.
17 views?
Yeah, we're going viral.
We're YouTubers.
I know. Thank you,
guys. This is the day that we became YouTubers. Is that one that's old or new?
It's a newer one. I think it's like episode 56 or something.
That's right.
I know. I have to leave right now.
Let me get you out of here.
All right.
All right, friends. For what it's worth.
Laters.